Dictation 7. Ready? Good political institutions would weaken the impulse toward force and domination in two ways. First, by increasing the opportunities for the creative impulses, and by shaping education so as to strengthen these impulses. Secondly, by diminishing the outlets for the possessive instincts, the diffusion of power both in the political and economic sphere, instead of its concentration in the hands of officials and captains of industry, would greatly diminish the opportunities for acquiring the habit of command, out of which the desire for exercising tyranny is apt to spring. Autonomy, both for districts and for organizations, would leave fewer occasions when governments were called upon to make decisions as to other people's concerns, and the abolition of capitalism and the wage system would remove the chief incentive to fear and greed, those correlative possessions by which all free life is choked and gagged. Few men seem to realize how many of the evils from which we suffer are wholly unnecessary, and that they could be abolished by a united effort within a few years if a majority in every civilized country so desired. We could within 20 years abolish all abject poverty, quite half the illness in the world, the whole economic slavery which binds down 9/10 of our population. We could fill the world with beauty and joy and secure the region of universal peace. It is only because men are apathetic that this is not achieved, only because imagination is sluggish, and what always has been is regarded as what always must be. With goodwill, generosity, intelligence, these things could be brought about. The world is full of preventable evils which most men would be glad to see prevented. Nevertheless, these evils persist and nothing effective is done toward abolishing them. This paradox produces astonishment in inexperienced reformers and too often produces disillusionment in those who have come to know the difficulty of changing human institutions. War is recognized as an evil by an immense majority in every civilized country, but this is recognition does not prevent war. The unjust distribution of wealth must be obviously an evil to those who are not prosperous, and they are 9/10 of the population. Nevertheless, it continues unabated. The tyranny of the holders of power is a source of needless suffering and misfortune to very large sections of mankind. But power remains in few hands and tends, if anything, to grow more concentrated. I wish first to study the evils of our present institutions and the cause of the very limited success of reformers in the past, and then to suggest reasons for the hope of a more lasting and permanent success in the near future. The war has come as a challenge to all who desire a better world. The system which cannot save mankind from such an appalling disaster is at fault somewhere and cannot be amended in any lasting way unless the danger of great wars in the future can be made very small. But war is only the final flower of an evil tree. Even in times of peace, most men live lives of monotonous labor. Most women are condemned to a drudgery which almost kills the possibility of happiness before youth is past. Most children are allowed to grow up in ignorance of all that would enlarge their thoughts or stimulate their imagination. The few who are more fortunate are rendered illiberal by their unjust privileges and oppressive through fear of the awakening indignation of the masses. From the highest to the lowest, almost all men are absorbed in the economic struggle, the struggle to acquire what is their due or to retain what is not their due. Material possessions, in fact, or in desire, dominate our outlook, usually to the exclusion of all generous and creative impulses. Possessiveness, the passion to have and to hold, is the ultimate source of war and the foundation of all the ills from which the political world is suffering. Only by diminishing the strength of this passion and its hold upon our daily lives can new institutions bring permanent benefit to mankind. Institutions which will diminish the sway of greed are possible, but only through a complete reconstruction of our whole economic system. Capitalism and the wage system must be abolished. They are twin monsters which are eating up the life of the world. In place of them, we need a system which will hold in check men's predatory impulses. Finished.